Hello and welcome to Top Story. The death toll from China's worst earthquake in 30 years continues remorselessly to rise. At least 12,000 people are believed to have been killed in the Mianzhu area of Sichuan alone, and there are reports of entire communities being wiped out. In stark contrast to neighbouring Burma, though, nobody has faulted the Chinese government for the professionalism and commitment of its response. Prime Minister Wen Jiabao was on the scene within hours and quickly warned the Chinese people that the country faced a major disaster. The government set aside an immediate relief fund of some $29 million and quickly dispatched troops and rescue workers to Sichuan. But it faces a daunting task. The earthquake has smashed telecommunications, ripped up roads and buried railways under landslides. Much of the area is remote and mountainous, and operations are being impeded by torrential rain. Well, joining me now to discuss that response and the challenge it poses to the Chinese government is Hélène Lebaille, who's a research fellow on the China program at the Foreign Policy Research Institute here in Paris. Thanks very much for being on the program. Are you surprised by the openness of the Chinese response to this disaster?
I'm not very surprised, since China has been communicating a lot these last months because of for sure the Olympic issue. So I'm not very surprised that they try to be more open on the international level as well as on the internal level. So they try, and some of the officials from the Communist Party asked the journalists to be to realize in-depth communication on the issue.
It is a big departure, though, from past practice. I mean, if you go back a long way to 1976, when the last earthquake of this scale happened, 200,000 to 600,000 people killed, and 3 days before the authorities even admitted it had happened. This is hugely different.
Yes, for sure, and I think the situation is also very, very different from 10 years ago. Even 10 years ago, during the 1990s, we can speak about the question of AIDS contamination. At that time, the censorship was still very, very strong, and it was not a question of days, but it was a question of years before the government would accept to communicate about the problem. So, for sure, China has already done a long way to more communication and more transparency on tragedies inside the country.
But do you think this will be a bit of a surprise for the Chinese people to be receiving this amount of information from their government, and to see their Prime Minister, Wen Jiabao, going straight down to Sichuan on the streets with a loudspeaker in his hand, encouraging people who are trapped under the rubble to hang on?
In fact, you should remember the snow tempests at the beginning of the year, I mean in January or February, and already at that time Wen Jiabao was on the scene, and he went to the south part of China to meet with people. So in a way, Wen Jiabao is the one in the government to give the image of solidarity with the people, and to be these people who will emphasize the need for solidarity, the need for cohesion in the country, the need for union. So he's really this kind of person inside the government. So I'm not very surprised that as soon as he could, he went on the scene and he organized the rescue team.
Is this part of an attempt to revitalize public relations in China, to make sure that the population get more information, at least of a certain type?
I think so, and I think that what the government probably wants to say is that the government takes care of the population. You know, in China now, the government is a little bit afraid about losing his legitimacy because of social inequalities, because of all the problems, all the issues that came out these last months. So the government needs to show that he takes care of the population, that he is worried about individual lives, about individual property. So this is probably what the government wants to show now, and this is why Wen Jiabao is so much present in the media.
Isn't there a little bit of a danger in this, though? Because if the Prime Minister himself takes such a prominent role in leading the rescue effort, if things go badly, he can't blame it on regional officials, can he?
Yes, probably, but anyway, the most important thing is for the officials to show that they are close to the poor, close to the victims. You probably know that the inequalities are growing in China, and that Wen Jiabao is really the person that tries to emphasize the necessity to speed on the social reforms in China, and to, like, for example, if there are more and more people that are that underway expropriation, that do petition to ask for their rights and so on. There are more and more people that are very poor compared to very rich people. So this is there's also this question of a social security system that has to be extended, and this is what Wen Jiabao put in the core of his policy now.
This is a huge disaster and getting worse. 60,000 people still missing. There have been offers of international help. Do you think the Chinese authorities are ready to accept international help if necessary?
I think so. They are probably ready to accept foreign help. But what is very, personally, I'm surprised that they do not accept some foreign rescue team, rescue worker, because especially Japan seems to be very ready to help China. They already gave $5 million, so it's the bigger donor now for these earthquake hit areas. And Japan has very good team for earthquake disaster, and it would be good for China to accept them as soon as possible.
And that, I'm afraid, is all we have time for today. Thanks to our guest Hélène Lebaille. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of Top Story. Goodbye.
The program dedicated to international news was brought to you by Le Monde.
Now it's time to leave and find a place for us under the moonlight, but it does not seem so hard to say.